Thanks for coming. So, does anyone have any questions? Oh, take your time and maybe end in 10 seconds too. Handsome man in the back.
Rebecca Leaf is still working at the Park.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did she receive you?
That's a great question. Rebecca Leaf, the one at the end, was one of Ben's best friends, and they actually owned a house together. And so I went down there thinking, of course she'll do an interview, and she wouldn't do an interview. So I had to make the movie without Rebecca being one of the main characters. But the reason she won't do an interview is because after Ben was killed, she just got so burned by the media, taking things that she had said and misconstruing them, that she vowed to never do interviews again. And she also wanted the Nicaraguans to represent the project, because that was Ben's thing, was to like train Nicaraguans so that they would represent the project. So I interviewed the people that work there now, and I said, what do you know, how do you feel about Ben Linder? And they said, who's Ben Linder? You know, they don't even know. But because they're young, you know, they're in their 20s now. I almost got her to do it, but she would just let me film her, you know, working around the plant.
But what, like, how long has her vow been in place?
Well, I don't know if
by the time you were filming, or
she just told me outright, look, I don't do interviews because I have no control over how they're going to be used, and I've had some really bad experiences in the past. So.
Did you want to hunt down any of her old interviews?
Well, I had the one of
yeah,
her at the end. That's all I've got. I actually have another, and she's not a good interview either. She's really quiet. She doesn't.
Was Mira his girlfriend? Ben's girlfriend?
No, Mira actually was Dawn's girlfriend, the guy with the beard, and they have a kid together. Yeah, but that doesn't come out. You know them? Pardon? Oh, I thank you. Yeah. Did anyone here know Ben? No?
Oh, Judy didn't make it? I had an email from a
The
person who
Emmys
was
are tonight, so there's a lot of people who said they were going to be here who probably couldn't find parking.
Well, the Emmys are, it's easier to find parking here tonight because the Emmys are in downtown.
Oh, okay. So people.
No, I got an email from somebody who said she was on a plane with Ben Linder on the way to Nicaragua. And was hoping
really?
to come to the show tonight.
Oh,
But
who is it?
Judy Brandtman wants to know how it was to see your film. But
What was the delay? Why was that second project only completed in 2008? Like, what was?
Well, they've done 5.
Yeah.
So the one that he was working on when he was killed was finished in like 1992, and that was the second one. So then there was 3 more, and I don't even think it was completed in 2000. I think there's also probably, I think it was completed earlier this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do one every 5 to 7 years. They have to raise the money. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's the
For the last one, they got even the first one they basically built with scraps, and then the last one they got, I think, like $2 million or something from the IMF. Like now they can borrow money, and then by generating electricity, they can pay back the money that it costs.
so do
them.
they bill the people in the towns for the electricity?
I think
in a
so.
normal
Yeah.
way?
Yeah, it's not free. But I mean, a lot of people still don't have electricity. The guys who I went to where Ben was killed, the 3 guys who were there the day that he was killed, and none of them have electricity. Yeah, so because they live out on a farm somewhere, but in the towns there's electricity.
And how did you discover the story originally?
I went to Nicaragua as a graduate student for my summer internship, and while I was there, everyone said, you have to go to the Ben Linder house. You have to go to the Ben Linder house. And I said, well, what's the Ben Linder house? I went and I said, well, who's Ben Linder? And they said, well, he was this guy. We're not quite sure, but there's a book about it. So I bought the book, and it's by the woman in the pink shirt that you see there. And the book's called The Death of Ben Linder. So I didn't put that like under her name, or you'd know what was going to happen in the movie. But I'm supposed to plug her book wherever I go. So viewers out there, Joan Krakowitz book, The Death of Ben Linder. It's really good. I read it a couple times. I was like, oh, this would be a great movie. So. And through her, I got in touch with everyone that you see up there. So, yeah.
Now, how many of the people still live in Nicaragua? I mean, we know Rebecca does.
Just Rebecca. I mean, there's other people from that era that still live there, other internationalists, but most of these people live in the Bay Area, and then Mira lives in Boston. There's actually an epilogue on the DVD that explain. I wanted to put it in the film where they are now, but I was limited to 30 minutes for my first school. So there's an epilogue now, and you can see where everyone lives and what they do. Yeah. They all are still active in their communities here now, rather than in Nicaragua, except for Rebecca, who's decided to stay. So, yeah.
And how did you come to? How did you find all the footage of Ben and all their activities from the 80s?
From one of the people in the film said, "Hey, check out this DVD. You know, if you're thinking about making this movie." I watched the DVD. I'm like, "Oh, well, there's the movie." You know, he had all these interviews from 1986 with Ben and Dawn and Mira. It's two people named Jeff Hart and Barbara Wigginton, who were filmmakers who went down to Nicaragua and filmed all the projects just to show people in the U.S. to help raise money so that they can continue working on it. And it's just been sitting around for 25 years or so.
And where'd you find them? How'd you find them?
You know, I've never met them, but I sent them the movie. I said, "Do you like this? Can I use your footage?" And after a while, they acquiesced. And I think they had their dreams of making a movie out of it as well, but they liked this one, so they participated.
Oh, meaning you used the footage from the DVD in your cut?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, actually, it was from a VHS tape.
Mm-hmm.
But then they sent me a DVD later, and I thought the VHS looked better. It had a warmer quality. So, yeah. But yeah, they live in Oregon, and they have a film production company, and this is just what they did in the 80s. So, I have a DVD. I forgot to bring it down. I'm going to grab it. So you
Yeah,
guys
we
can see.
actually, yeah,
Probably
have
running out of time.
DVDs of both films tonight, if you wish to obtain on your way out.
So,
So did you pursue trying to get Daniel Ortega at this point?
did he try?
Should it seem not
No,
relevant?
I thought about it. No, Daniel Ortega is currently the president of Nicaragua again, so I guess that makes him even harder to get in touch with. But also, he doesn't do interviews because he's kind of like George Bush. He puts his foot in his mouth every time he opens it, so he doesn't do interviews really. Like, he won't debate when he runs for president. He won't debate the other candidates. You know, so. But so there's a DVD that I brought, and it's the film's out on IndiePix, and there's some extras on it. This is the first batch of DVDs, and the first 10 seconds of the film are missing. Yeah, and the other thing is epilogue is spelled epiloge. when you put in there's some problems with the disc. So if anyone wants a copy of the movie, I'm $10. I'm just trying to get rid of these. They sell them for $20, which I think is kind of expensive. So I'm actually happy I could sell them for $10. So if anyone wants a copy, I brought some with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll be out front to hawk them at the end for a bit.
Do you know anything about the current policies of the government in Nicaragua toward rural electrification, for instance? I mean, it seems like one of the points about the movie is here are these people, you know, and the government isn't doing this.
Yeah.
Some other people are coming in the United States. And
Yeah. Well,
a
actually, no.
revolution
The
here.
government started the first project, but they didn't have any engineers, and they didn't have any tools. They didn't have screws. You know, they didn't have bolts. They didn't have hammers. They didn't have anything. So people from the U.S. would come and be the engineers. But it was a government project, and they all worked for the government.
But how about now?
Now, it's independent. Yeah, I don't think they're working for the government. But the Sandinistas have only been back in power for a couple of years, so, you know, I mean, already, like, you know, one of the big Sandinista projects was, for instance, literacy, and like within the first year of them being in power, literacy went from 20% to 90%. And again, literacy was 20% 2 years ago, and now it's back up to something high again. So, you know, they're doing their projects again, but I think it takes a while. I mean, it takes a long time to build a plant like this. So with time, maybe they will. But yeah, I'm not really up to date on their policies. I know Daniel Ortega isn't quite the guy he used to be, so we'll see what happens. But yeah.
He was suitably co-opted in order to regain power.
Yeah, he's a little fishy. But yeah, thanks for coming, and we're gonna gather, I guess, at Broadeners around the corner if anyone's hungry or thirsty. I can't say this word. What is it?
Bordeners.
Bordeners. Every time I
After the show.
kept trying to Google it, and it kept sending me to Borders books. So, but it's
That's also nearby.
yeah, exactly. So don't go to Borders Books. It's down the block and to the right. What is it? What street?
Cherokee.
Cherokee. Okay, so
Um,
if anyone wants to talk further.
yeah, any other questions though first now? Well, did you also have a notion in your mind, how did you choose like this approach? I mean, you were in journalism school. Did you ever wanted to make the film like more explicitly activist, let's say?
I'm not an activist in any sense, I don't think, and some people do get annoyed that the film isn't more left, you know, and then other people say it's too activist, such as my professors in school. So yeah, I think it strikes a balance, but I tried to be as journalistic about it as possible and not be more activist. Although the audience for the film tends to be 99% activists, you know, the people that are interested in it. So, yeah.
Has Sandinista in the title, so.
Yeah.
Well, they
That'll suit the
existed.
audience. Yeah, it has American.
They existed. So. People ask me, they're like, you know, young people see the film, they're like, okay, is Sandinistas, are they the good guys or are they the bad guys? So if I could just, you know, shed a little bit of knowledge, you know, without taking sides.
Yeah.
She asked me earlier.
Yeah,
Somebody
which
asked
one
me.
was the one that
I get
he
asked
was
it all
gonna-
the time. I don't think even I knew when I started.
Yeah. And what happened to the Contras now?
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know? Actually, the reconciliation was pretty smooth, and you know, like at Ben's, you know, at Ben's factory, you know, on the job site, there's ex-Contras working with ex-Sandinistas, and it's perfectly fine. Well, the guy you see welding is a former Contra. I mean, most of them are former Sandinistas, but you know, they all work together, and yeah, so.
And does it really, when you were there, did it really feel like there was this whole next, like, if Rebecca were to leave, the project could continue? Did you get a sense that there were definitely like enough Nicaraguans who were?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about hydroelectric power to say who knew what, but yeah, she's definitely instrumental. Maybe that's why she hasn't left. I've never been able to figure out why she still lives in El Quapat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have, you know, mechanical engineering schools, I don't
No.
think, so.
They have a university.
They do? They have it?
Well, they have a major university there, but
Yeah.
they have suitable, or do the engineers all stay in the big city as
Yeah,
opposed to
I
wanting to
don't-
go back
that's-
out to the
I don't know.
countryside?
Yeah.
But the one woman who they said was, you know, the brightest by far, where's she now?
She's works in the office. She's you see her at the you see her at the end. You see her at the office, but they were plant managers, and now the plant. I think it's more official now. It was like, hey, you want to be the plant manager? Come on. Now I think it's more official, and so. But also, she had 4 kids and left and did other things, and then came back. Yeah, but that's a good question. There's other people who could take it over. Do you know? You went to Nicaragua, didn't you?
I didn't, but
Oh, you didn't?
I was involved.
Oh, you were? Okay. Oftentimes people in the audience know much. I know what you saw. That's what I know. You know, maybe a few things in the epilogue I know as well.
They weren't part of the VHS compilation too, were they?
The what?
The media clips, such as Reagan and others.
Some of them were off random VHS clips. Reagan comes from the Reagan Library. Anyone can order any Reagan speech from the Reagan Library, and you get it for free. It's the one thing I'll give Reagan. You get his.
It's not Reagan, it's the National
Yeah.
Archives.
No, it's the Reagan Library.
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, all the presidential
Yeah,
libraries you
exactly.
can order whatever
Yeah,
and
maybe
get
if
it
he
for
if he
free.
had it his way, it would have cost money. But yeah, anything filmed in the White House is automatically public domain.
And
But
these clips were
I paid a lot of money for them. Yeah. Except for a few of them, I'm arguing fair use because they're $300 a second. But I paid up to $100 a second for the news footage. That's just what ABC charges and CBS.
The
Yeah.
styles to keep them free.
No.
In the
To make a
80s.
verite film, if you're going to make a documentary, if you make a historical one, you're going to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
It's
luckily, I
$300.
could say I was a student and they gave me half off. You know, instead of it being $200 a second, you know, it'd be $100.
Paid up. Anyway.
He
Who-
wants
Mr.
me to do errors and omissions. He has this whole other theory that,
No, yeah.
yeah,
It's a
we've
whole
talked
nother
about it
discussion.
before.
I do licensing, so.
Yeah, he does licensing.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Any other questions at the moment? Should we roll right into the other one, or do you want a moment? Let's roll right into the next one.